Hey everybody, Joshua Piper here with the Heavy Piano YouTube channel. I was gonna create a little how-to video about how to find a piano on Craigslist. So your market's gonna be a little bit different depending on where you are. I'm in Austin, Texas, so there's maybe more options in a larger city, especially one that has a lot of musicians. But you know, it's a good place to kind of look for used pianos. Today I'm going to be looking just at owner, even though dealers still sneak in their pianos. But you would hope if you went to a dealer, the piano would be kind of checked out and checked over at least. One of the things I'm going to encourage, let's see here, is to go to the Piano Technicians Guild, ptg.org, and then you can do find a registered piano technician. This is if you're in the United States. But you can find a technician and by zip code or area, etc. I always recommend doing that. It'll be maybe $100-$200. I'm not sure how much people charge for the service, but they can check out a piano, kind of like a pre-purchase check that you would do if you were purchasing a used car. So that's something I would just recommend. If it's an instrument you're really interested in, to go ahead and have a professional check it out. So I searched for piano on Craigslist, and we're going to sort by newest. No, actually, let's sort by price going up. Let's see here. So, some of the things I'm looking for, I'm going to stay away from what are called spinet pianos, and they're really small pianos. And I'm also going to stay away from anything that is listed as an antique, because I'm just from the basis of trying to find a usable instrument that maybe somebody transitioning from keyboard to a real acoustic piano. That's kind of the buyer that this video is intended for. So right off the bat here we have Kimball, not a bad brand. It's a console piano. So these are as small as I would go, especially for the price. You kind of can't beat it. But a decent piano, decent shape, probably like a family instrument. It's not an amazing instrument, but I bet it should tune up. It does not show serial numbers, so that's something I would email them and ask them for the serial number, and then you can check online with just Googling piano serial numbers, and you might be able to find the age of the piano. But something like this for $25, I mean, you really can't beat that. Throw in a couple hundred for moving, maybe $100 to get it checked out, or $100 for tuning, $200 for tuning-ish. You have a decent piano for a starter piano. That would definitely be a big improvement over having a keyboard. That is assuming that the pin block is in good shape, strings and hammers, everything's in good shape. But it looks like it's pretty clean, So that's one I would definitely look into, especially for $25. Here's a $50 piano. This looks like a spinet. It looks awfully short. I would stay away from that. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. It doesn't, again, I'll go back to that one. It doesn't have brand listed. There's not a whole lot of pictures, just a single picture of the piano. And the reason I say stay away from spinets is they don't really make them anymore. And in general, they were cheaply made instruments that, because of their age and because they were cheaply made, sacrificing sound for taking up less space, they're really not a good investment as an instrument. If you just want something to set some stuff on, like furniture, you get a little spinet for your living room or something, that might be kind of fun. Upright piano with bench. Let's see this one. Wooden upright piano. I don't know. I mean, it's another console. I can't see a brand on here. Probably okay. I can't tell what that is. But again, we're in this kind of this under $100 range. So I don't know. I would stay away from that. Let's see here. Digital piano, that's not what we're looking for. Okay, so here's something I avoid. It says antique right in the name. So antique cable upright piano. So these were decent pianos. It's got a chipped key. It does have a cast iron block here we can see up here, but this is a really old piano. It says good condition, but for, again, maybe a piece of furniture would be okay. But when you factor in the cost of moving and then trying to tune it up, maybe it will hold a tune, maybe it won't. But in general, pianos don't get better with age. You have certain year ranges for the parts in a piano. There's a lot of moving parts that can break, and as they age, just really think of an antique piano as an antique car, kind of like this is like a Model T, you know. And if you want solid transportation, you wouldn't buy something like a Model T, you know. You buy like, we're kind of looking for like the Toyota Corolla or the Honda Accord of pianos here. Let's see here. Good piano for sale. Again, real short. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of pictures. We don't have a serial number. Yeah. It's probably okay, but I would keep looking. So let's see here. Gold Branson is a good brand, but this is a real short piano. They do include the serial number. This might be okay. It is a spinet. So again, I would stay away from spinets. I wouldn't mess with that. Get some more keyboards. Here we go. We're getting to $150 range. Upright piano for sale. It's been in a church. Let's see. So that's a little scuffed. I have found that churches tend to have fluctuations. So Story & Clark is like an old American maker. Those hammers are in rough shape. I have found that churches tend to have fluctuations. We know when they have services or when people come in, they'll either turn the AC or heat on. And then when people leave to save money, they will change the temperature. So maybe not the best environment for an instrument. It looks like that maybe is an exterior door that it's placed by, which is real bad for acoustic instruments. $150. I mean, something like this, I think that should be more like a $25, $50. It may be a fine piano, but it's gonna. I can tell you just without listening at it, it's gonna be a real bright piano. So I would keep looking. Here's another spinet. I would stay away from that. I've seen a lot of these piano with delivery and professional inspection. You got to remember, if somebody is selling you piano, they may not be the best person to also trust for inspection. I would stay away from something like that. Let's see here. Another short, maybe a console. Another spinet. We got some keyboards. Here's another antique. It says right there, I'd stay away from those. Here's another one, real short console. Here's a spinet. Vos and Sons. I'm not familiar with these. Maybe a little bit taller console. Again, pretty cheap. I mean, we're in that like under $500 range. Baldwin Acrosonics. These are sometimes the exception to the rule for spinets. They can be tuned well enough. Okay, that's nice. We have a serial number, so we could go online and check. But, you know, so if we look right here, let me bring the picture. Oh, it doesn't get bigger. So you can see there's the action is actually beneath the keys. So there's like these, the keys drop underneath. And so you'll never get like a great feel out of the actions in a spinet. So I would stay away from spinets. Here's another spinet. Keyboard, ugly piano delivered and tuned. I don't think it's that ugly. Again, we're in that under $500 range. Grinnell and Brothers. I'd keep looking. Let's see here. There's a $400 piano. We don't know much about it. Schaefer and Sons. Yeah, I'd keep looking. Another console. Let's see here. Lots of short pianos. Here's a Baldwin for $400. No picture of the serial. It does come with a bench. It looks like it's in decent shape. That's a console. Might be okay to look at. That Baldwin is kind of, in general, the used pianos, or it can be nice little instruments for $400. You know, you can maybe check that out if it's near you. Here just says piano, wood grand piano. It says Kimball. It might be okay to look at. I wouldn't pay $400 for it. Let's see. Cable Nelson with no picture. Doesn't have a brand. I cannot read that brand. Let's stay away from that. Looks real rough. Another Cable Nelson upright. Here's an antique. Again, I would stay away from anything with antique in the title. You know, the thing is, those real tall old pianos, when they were new, were great pianos. But, you know, at this point, you're looking at upwards of 80 years, 100 years old, and it's going to require a lot of work. And, you know, you could spend $10,000, $15,000 fixing up, bringing it up to new, or you could just get a new piano for that price. Usually, the general rule of thumb is to only spend that money if you really want to, or if it's kind of like a family heirloom, or you have, you know, some fond memories with it. So let's see. Okay, so here, this would be a great example of a $500 piano. I think this is a pretty good buy. We got 1991 Baldwin upright. And it looks like it's real clean. It is against a window, which is not good for the soundboard. But Only 2 pictures. I would ask for more pictures or for a serial number, but I have found that these tend to be decent instruments. Yeah, that's definitely worth checking out for $500. And 1991. It's not ancient. Let's see here. So I think that'd be a good one to look into. Winter Company, another $500 piano. Look at this picture. So you see this? It looks like it's been stored outside. So I would, do not store your pianos in garages or outside if you care about them. So, I mean, if it's nearby, maybe you could go poke your head in. They said they spent $1,500 rebuilding it, which may be true, but I don't know. It doesn't say what was replaced, or maybe it was just like a cosmetic rebuild. We got another antique. You can see here's something to look for too. Has that player mechanism in there. A lot of times I don't know if I've ever come across an unfixed, unrefurbished player piano that still works. There's a lot of parts in there that may actually make the piano not work very well. So here's another console piano, short piano. See, we're looking at these pictures of real short pianos. Here's a white upright. Let's see here. Wurlitzer. Some of these are okay. Real short piano. This looks like an old one. I would keep looking. Let's see here. Another vintage. Let's stay away from the term vintage. Now we're getting into baby grands. Let's see here. This even says this is not a piano for master players, but good for beginners. The piano's $750 and it's a little grand, but if you want to have something that works well as an instrument, it may need a lot of work, especially with the age of the instrument. Kohler & Campbell can be okay. I don't know if I'd spend $800 on a manufactured in the early 1950s. You're talking about a almost 70-year-old piano. They do have it looks like a serial number here, which is nice. 1970s, it's a real short piano. Baldwin Howard piano. If you've seen my videos, I have a Baldwin Howard, but it is a console. It's an upright, not a console. It's like a studio upright, around 45 inches or so. But just in general, the shorter the piano, the quality of the tone is much worse. So Young Chang is a brand that has gotten much better as they've gotten newer. 10 years old, they do have the model number here. There's no serial. I mean, it might be a very bright piano, but if it's only 10 years old, it could have a lot of life left in it, especially for under $1,000. I mean, that would be something I would check out if I liked a brighter piano. Here's a Kawaii Upright. It's actually a console, a little bit taller console. I've tuned these before. There are these models similar to this. They're okay. You can get them sounding okay. There's no serial number shown. They do show the hammers. The hammers have a little bit of wear here, a little bit of use, but I don't know. I mean, something like that, maybe half is what I would pay. Samick is another, looks like it's a little bit newer. It's probably gonna be a pretty bright piano. I mean, maybe for $1,000 might be all right. The keys look fairly dirty. There's a model number, and maybe that's a serial there. I don't know. Do some Googling with those numbers. We're getting to the $1,000 range. Antique, I would stay away from that. We got here another upright piano. We have Kohler & Campbell. It looks like it's a newer one, so it probably is a made in China, and they throw the Kohler & Campbell, they have the name, the naming rights to the old American brands, but they're actually made, by somebody else, like maybe made by Young Chang or Samick or something like that. So probably not a bad piano. It's probably very bright, maybe cheaply made, but it's fairly new. It's newer. So then we're getting into some more of these consoles. People are asking for more money for them. You can see this one looks like it's in a storage unit. So think about the location of the piano and where it's being kept to. Yamaha console. This is probably a decent little instrument. I don't know if I would pay $1,300 for that, but definitely an okay piano. A Young Chang, we talked about that brand. If I was going to spend this much, I would want to not get a console. I want to get a studio upright at least size. Another Yamaha console. It's a little bit different. We have some more digitals. Let's see here. Kawaii's console. Personally, I'm not for playing on these, they're okay. For me personally, I would look for a studio upright. Cabinet Grand is another antique. 115-year-old piano. I mean, it looks real clean. Like they clean the keys and polish the case, but who knows what the interior condition is like. I mean, that's a really old piano. It's not something I would look at for transitioning from keyboard to piano. I think they're asking way too much for that. It's 1963 console piano. Let's see here. We've got a grand piano. 1918, so almost over 100 years old, excuse me. Restored. It says restored, but it doesn't say what was done. It's a 5/6 piano. I mean, maybe plays okay. You're looking at pin block issues, maybe soundboard issues at that age. It's a really old piano if those things haven't been replaced or addressed. We got a Chickering. Chickering made some nice grands in their day. Again, 1948. I mean, that's a really old piano. Has some nice woodwork on there. Let's see. I mean, it looks pretty clean, but the case is a little rough. So we're into like the a few $1,000 range. I wouldn't buy that, but some people might really like the tone. It's Steinway & Sons Boston upright. So Boston's, was it designed by Steinway but made by another company? Some of these are okay. They have a model number. We don't have a serial number. Probably be an okay piano to check out. $3,500. I mean, yeah, for used market. Here's a U2. These are good pianos. Is there a serial? Let's look through this. Let's see. Looks like it's been taken care of. Okay, so this might be a dealer piano, even though it's listed in the owner. So here we do have a serial number. We could Google that and check the age. I'm guessing for the price, this is probably a pretty old one, maybe 40, 50 years old. But these are, tuning and delivery, including the asking price. I'm guessing this is probably a fairly old piano, despite it looks pretty clean. There's a Danish Bodlin piano. I don't know much about these, but we're getting into kind of so here, the $5,000 range, right? So UX1, 1985. So what is this? A 35-year-old piano, 34-year-old piano, 35-year-old piano. And it's probably in pretty good shape. Looks like they have the cover on it. The picture is a little bit blurry. Can't really see a serial number there. But this would be $5,000. Yeah, I mean, pretty. It says it's been climate controlled. I mean, looks like it's been indoors. These are decent pianos. Like, that's a good piano for $5,000. I would personally want something a little bit newer, but I think that'd be I don't know if you're going from keyboard to piano, if you want to spend $5,000, but that'd definitely be a piano that would hold its value. At least if you decided, to turn around and sell it, you could probably get a few thousand for it selling it again. So I don't know about Bergman, made by Young Chang. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It has the piano disc stuff, but see that floppy drives. I mean, it's old technology. So these Petroff pianos are very nice pianos. I don't know if you want to spend $5,500 on an upright piano, especially a used one, but these are very good pianos. So this would be like a good buy. This would be a good instrument. They're maybe a little bit less well known among people. Most people know of Steinway, Yamaha, Kawaii, brands like that. But these are good pianos. I mean, $5,500 is, I think, a fair price for it. Made in 2000, only 20 years old. I mean, who knows how much it's been played, but it's a nice piano. I think we'll go. So here's more antiques. Same posting. Another antique. It says restored. Who knows what actually was. Oh, here. Okay, so here we have a list of the restoration. Hammers, felts, regulation, refurbished. Let's see here. So nothing. The pin block. I think the strings are the same. Same strings, same pin block, same soundboard. So this is probably a decent instrument, but I mean, you're kind of like, it's like a gamble, because all those, the very important parts, the strings, the soundboard, and the pin block, you're still dealing with 100-plus-year-old parts, 1911, so it's over 100 years old. Yeah, I would, this is why as an instrument, I would stay away from it. It's probably in good shape, though I'm sure a lot of work's been done to it. Okay, now we're getting into real expensive stuff. And I'm guessing if you're a beginner student or an intermediate student trying to transition from keyboard to piano, you're not looking in this range. We've got a Steinway B. These are great pianos, $48,000. I mean, that's probably about right. 1982. That's a good piano. It's a solid piano. If it was me and I was spending that much money, I would not get something that old. 1982 is a little bit too old for me. Here's another Steinway B, $69,000. New 2013. So yeah, that's like 7 years old, and it's reflected in the price. It looks like it's in super good shape, but those would be good pianos, obviously. And then we have the C3. The C3 is like considered by a lot of people like kind of like a very good, basic, reliable, well-made grand piano. And it's at that grand size where you're talking in terms of, I think it's around a 6-foot grand. And when you're talking about the physical limitations of strings and technology and kind of the scale of the piano, the size of the piano, a 6 foot, you generally don't want to go smaller than 6 foot with a grand piano when it comes to tone. So we got a serial number. It looks like it's pretty clean. We got a nice cover. I'm sure I don't see any I don't see any windows here. There's probably a window over here, but I don't see like a heat vent by it. I mean, $20,000 for a used C3, 1999. It's only 21 years old. I believe that when they say impeccable condition, well cared for, just tuned, touch was regulated. Yeah, it comes with a bench, and I actually think that would be. It wouldn't be a steal of a deal, but I think that's a fair price for what was a good piano, and I think you would get a lot of life out of that. So there's some decent options on here in our market, but your market's going to be different based on where you are. You go to smaller towns or smaller cities, and there's going to be a lot fewer options. But like kind of what we saw, in my opinion, again, this is just some guy's opinion online. The under $500 range, you should be able to find something good that would be a good step up from being a keyboard-based pianist. I personally will always take an okay acoustic piano over the best keyboard in the world. I just don't think you can get the dynamic control and the range from a keyboard, and for me it always feels somewhat hollow and empty playing on a keyboard and trying to evoke emotion out of a keyboard. But that's just me. But I always encourage people, if they can, try to at least practice on an acoustic somewhere. Maybe you have one at a church or at a school, or if you have a friend with an acoustic, just if you're just playing on a keyboard, it will kind of limit your expression as a pianist. But anyway, I hope this was interesting and helpful. Maybe gave you some things to look for. If the takeaways are stay away from antiques and spinets, and then a taller upright is better than a shorter upright. But again, for like this one, for the price, $25, man, you can't beat that. And it looks like it's real clean. I mean, that's a heck of a deal for a starter piano stepping up from a keyboard. Personally, I like the Baldwin uprights. I think they have nice tone and they can be coaxed into decent instruments. So like this 1991 Baldwin for $500, I think that's a great deal. You start getting into the several $1,000 range, and there seems to be fewer options. But that Yamaha C3 was I think that's a great piano. You would not grow out of that for a long time. So if you have the money. Anyway, thank you for watching. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I hope you have a good day, and I appreciate everybody commenting and watching the videos here, and stay tuned for some more covers and some more educational materials, and I hope you have a nice day.